how do you feel when you get in the octagon and you're boxing against these guys, and it almost seems like you see the punches coming from a mile away? He threw like 4 or 5 looping hooks, and you just basically just dip back like, get that out of here. What do you see? Is it slow motion, or how are you able to evade these punches like that?
Well, those reflexes, I was born with them. A lot of them. The peripherals and seeing it. And through my mom's, and I'm not even joking, everybody thinks I'm joking, through my mom's numerous ass whippings with objects and belts mainly, she sharpened these reflexes because from the first day I ever got into the streets and fought somebody, it was like clear evident that I could move my head and move in ways that others couldn't see it, you know. So I don't know if it's necessarily that I see it in slow motion, but I could just see it, you know. And I always give thanks to my mother for this because she knows she was a huge part of my reflexes to this day.
Now, Jordan, I'm gonna go way back with this one, man. You came up in the streets, man, fighting in the underground Miami scene with Kimbo and them in the backyard. How'd you get into that?
Me and Kimbo were training out of the same gym, and I approached them to see if they had any fights. I wanted to turn pro. I wanted to start fighting already. I wanted to compete, you know. And I had seen Kimbo, obviously. I knew who Kimbo was. And he's like, sure, man, we'll give you a call. And that's all he said to me. He didn't really, we didn't get too much details. We exchanged numbers. And I think 4 or 5 months went by, and he calls me out of nowhere. Hey, what's up? I was like, hey, what's up, man? You want to fight? I was like, yeah, for sure. He's like, all right, come through, blah, blah, blah. This is the address. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Kimbo just called me to fight right now. We were literally at the McDonald's drive-thru. I remember what McDonald's and everything it was. He took off and did the scrap.
How many fights did you have with Kimbo and Kimbo?
The fact that he said he learned how to evade punches and reaction from getting ass whoopings as a kid. You just get over there like he didn't just say that. Yeah. Man, you know how many butt whoopings I got? They ain't never helped me in the octagon.
Well, you ain't evade as good as George then.
No, I got the buckle if you evade.
The buckles, yeah, that's where you learn to really whoa, you know. And it was all me dodging my mom's belt till she would hit me, and then she would just break me mentally. Because after she'd get me 1 or 2 good times, I just lay on the floor and not move, try to pretend dead, and she'd keep digging into me. And it was like, man, that's the only time I've ever felt in my life broken. There's nothing I could do here. I'm just getting demolished, you know. And so I always thank my mom. You know, she knows it. She thinks people be thinking I'm clowning, but if you know my mom, you know what I mean. My mom is a huge part of what I am today.
That's dope, man. Well, I had a quick question about the fight. All right, so we was watching the fight, obviously. I was watching it as a teammate and friend, but then I was watching it as an analyst. And one thing that I keyed in on, I said, the key to this fight is George has been in so many fights outside of the octagon that I don't think fighting makes him nervous, just the thought of actually fighting. And if Ellenberger, if he gets into a fight, and he's showed this many, many times, if a person does not allow him to show that he's an alpha male or to dictate the pace, or if he's not able to bully early on in a fight, he tends to break down mentally in fights. And it was an exchange right in the middle octagon. I think he threw a kick, you had his leg, you were punching him, he was punching you back. You laughed, smiled, you said, come on, let's get it on. At that moment, did you notice that he kind of mentally shut down, or were you just doing your thing normal?
No, as soon as we came in, I could tell from his demeanor, he's been in this game a while already, especially through wrestling, you could see it too. You could just read body language. And I was looking at him across the cage, and it didn't seem like a dude that wanted to get at me. It seemed like a dude that was telling himself, I gotta get at this dude. You could see that, you could feel that, especially when you got enough experience, you could make the differences what he's going through. And I'm just looking at him. I'm always calm, no matter how bad I look or how intense I look. I might try to do it to psych my opponent out, but I'm always pretty calm in there, So I was just looking at him, observing his posture. I was like, man, he doesn't even want to be here against me right now. That's the first thing that was going through my head. But I was still thinking in my head, I was like, a scared fighter is a dangerous fighter, so I'm just going to move a little bit, get his timing, get his rhythm, and once we got into that exchange, like you said, I could feel it man, this guy ain't got nothing from me, man. I'm just going to put it on him.
But now obviously what happened, his foot got caught in the fence and they stopped it. I'm not sure they stopped it and then, I guess to check it. I'm not sure why they didn't restart it, but they stopped it, called it a TKO. How does it feel to almost, it seems like a
toe bar.
Yeah, like
I
his
got
foot
the ill
got caught,
toe
and
bar, the first toe, and I didn't even get a
yeah.
bonus for that. Is that crazy?
It almost feels
The
like it
first
took your
toe bar
glory.
in history, and I didn't get a bonus for it.
But do you feel like it took your glory a little bit?
Nah, for sure. I felt like I was gonna stop him eventually. I was in really good shape for this fight. I was originally training for Calvin, and I was super excited to be fighting number 5. When it got bumped to 15, I was bummed out, but I didn't stop my training. I was still training like I was gonna fight number 5 in the world. So I came in there in really good shape. You saw me do that flurry, and I was ready to put another flurry on him, and then that happened. But I mean, people getting mad like, oh, they shouldn't have stopped the fight, and it shouldn't have been this or that. I was ready to continue. You can't get mad at me. I'm not the one that
No,
stopped
it's
it. I
not your
didn't call
fault at all.
timeout. No, I know not you guys, but I'm saying like in general, people have been sending me comments
Yeah.
and emails and stuff. I'm like, I was ready to fight. I was ready to keep going. And another thing, he threw that technique at me. It wasn't like there was water and he slipped. He
No.
threw a flying kick tight knee, and I foot swept him under it. My purpose wasn't to launch him into the gate, but I was just trying to deflect whatever he was throwing at me. That's what happened.